And so we find ourselves not in the middle of the desert, but back in town. Because, we've got stuff to do here in Oasis Town, and I really don't want to backtrack through the desert on camera. Alright, so let's go to the old Warp Squid hut. And let's just skip this. We did it, we've slotted in 4 squids. Hooray! And now it's time for a new warp dance, which is going to be very useful. Because, of course, like I said before, or at least I think I did, there is something to the left of Oasis Town, but we're not going to have to go that direction for at least a little while, so when we do need to go that direction, then we are free to do so. And we won't have to do a lot of backtracking. So now we can pretty much skip over any place between Oasis Town and Watertown. If I needed to go back to Scuttletown, well, that would be a bit of a problem, because then I would have to backtrack, but, why would I have to go back to Scuttletown? I have shown that gambling is way better than dancing. Now granted, things can go horribly wrong with gambling, but it's still a lot faster. Even if you have to use save scumming, it's still better to go that direction. Anyway, I'm going to skip over the, further backtracking, because we've got places to go. Okay, so after I said that we don't need to go back to Scuttletown, I go back to Scuttletown for the item shop. Now, this one is very important if I remember correctly. We should be buying, I want to say... Oh yes, that's right, the storm. Okay, yeah, storm's important. We're gonna need that to get a thing. It's a little hard to use. Basically, it just sends a cloud ahead of you, and then it strikes enemies with electricity. Bit of lightning. And since we're here, we might as well go talk to Mimic. We haven't done that in a while, and he might help us find the zombie caravan. Well, it's definitely helpful advice. He gives us a good starting direction, but there are a few rules to how the zombie caravan works. Only one of them is in effect right now, and that's the fact that it can only be found at night. So, yeah, try to remain at nighttime as often as you can when searching for it, because otherwise you might miss it, and that would be a shame. That being said, though, there is one specific point where it is, so if you know where that point is and you happen to miss it, you can just, wait it out until it gets to be day again. Anyway, speaking of day, well, we could not find this during the daytime. Is that our first firefly? I know I've talked about him before, but I forget if we've gotten any. Oh well, so yeah, there's a firefly there, and we need Monkey to get it. So, now we have it. Anyway, on to more important things. Over here we have a tree trunk. You're going to want to keep your eye out for objects like this because, of course, we can use the elephant to ram it. So, this is going to create a secret passage, which is why I'm not taking it. Of course, it's only the first half of the secret passage. You have to open up both ends in order to make the shortcut actually usable. So, next on our list is this area right here. So I didn't really go in this direction the first time we were at Waterfall area, or whatever you want to call this place. I'm pretty sure it's just Waterfall area, it's nothing fancy name-wise. This, however, leads to a secret section of the forest. And we got more of these jerks who I do not like. They're definitely the type of enemy that just get up in your face, and it's very easy for them to just accidentally wander into your hitbox and do contact damage. Also, they hide behind trees, which is very rude. Now, I forget exactly what's here. I think I remember what it might be, but I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see in a sec. Well, I know there's a tree trunk, so let's transform. And ram it. Alright. So with that done, we're going to go down here. And by the way, this isn't the other half of the shortcut. Let's see. Oop, that's quite the bounce that thing had. Alright, let's see. Ooh, and thank goodness for bad hitboxes. Otherwise, that would have hit me, and that would have sucked. Okay, so is this the secret waterfall area, I want to say? Nope, it's just the other half of the shortcut. Okay, so I was just showing this off because of the shortcut. Sorry, I thought that was something else. There is a different secret passage, though, which is why we're going right back in. Okay, so that was the secret passage. But that means that the thing I'm thinking of must be around here somewhere, then. Also, it's not really the best shortcut, just because there are a few times you'd really want to come to this area. That isn't a continuation to a different area, but this is. Sure, yeah, whatever. I don't know why you can't screen transition there. I'm pretty sure there's a similar thing on the other side, but whatever, they just didn't want you going between those areas. Alright, so those guys can be surprisingly dangerous, but god, I love their goofy animation for spitting fire. It's so good. They just belch it out with extreme fury. Alright, neither of these areas are the ones I thought they were. That being said, though, I believe you want to come to this area at night, because there should be a firefly here if I remember correctly. But there's also something else, but in order to get that, we need to transform into a monkey. So let's do that. By now, you just know how to deal with tree trunks. They're always an indication that you gotta knock them down. Tree trunks exist only to be destroyed. They cannot be allowed to live, it's their destiny. Now, I believe then this should be... Yep, okay, this is where we need the storm item, because we've got this weird-looking lightning rod man. So, we got 20 of these, geez. Got plenty of them, probably because most people are going to miss, but this is about where you want to be. They get struck by lightning, and we can continue on, and grab the first animal weapon, the monkey claw. So this does what you think it does. It allows you to attack in monkey form. Obviously, monkey form does not have access to Shantae's battle items like the boots and the sash and whatnot, so it's not quite as powerful overall, but god, it is so incredibly good to be able to attack as the monkey, because you don't have to de-transform any time you see like a vase or something, or there are just enemies you want to get rid of. It's so good. You absolutely want to pick that up, and that's why, even though it was very out of the way and it took me a while to get it, I thought it was entirely worth it to do so, instead of saving the monkey claw for, like, the cleanup episode. I absolutely want that now, because the monkey is already really good at platforming, but having the monkey be able to attack means that you can stay in monkey form for a long time, and it's going to be super helpful. You're going to see a transformed Shantae a lot, trust me on that. Alright, Bolo, do you have anything interesting to say? No, you don't have anything useful. Alright, sure, yep. I am not surprised whatsoever. I also like how Zombie Girls is apparently a proper noun. Alright, so, Bolo's not really going to help us find the zombie caravan, and I'm not going to help him pick up women. So, onwards to a new area, and I'm definitely fond of this one. This one looks cool. So this is just a big ol' rainy river area. Some debris goes along and you can see it, but it's not going to be helpful. It's not like you fall into a hole but then a log comes by and oh, you're saved. No, it's purely background, or foreground in this case. God, this area looks just so cool. Also, it introduced... Oh, geez. Oh, my God. Oh, geez. God, like I said, those guys can be difficult. Anyway, though, yeah, we're also introduced to ghost enemies, so... You know, even if you hadn't gotten any advice whatsoever as to where the zombie caravan was, the fact that we're seeing undead enemies is a pretty good indication that you're going to the right place. Though, actually, thinking about it, the other direction could conceivably trick you into thinking that's the way you need to go to the zombie caravan. The enemies there aren't exactly undead, but they're not exactly, normal creatures that you'd expect to find. They're a little bit Cthulhu-esque, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, one problem with the monkey, though, is because of how fast and loose it plays, it's not good for platforming on tiny platforms, which is why I switched back to regular Shantae. Plus, it is actually pretty good to, have the boots item, I think it is? I think so. That being said, the drill attack, we can see, you can see that now. I did just buy it before. It looks cool, however, it's a very risky one to use, because you could end up sending yourself into an enemy with it. In fact, the ghost back there gave me a whole lot of trouble, because I kept drilling myself, but, like, while in his hitbox, and then I ended up getting hit. Same with these enemies, unfortunately. These praying mantises that shoot fire are very annoying. While they do shoot fire, these are very much a contact damage type enemy. And no, drill really isn't good for them. Honestly, if you know enemy HP, that's probably where the drill is most useful, because if you kill an enemy with it, then there's no risk of being in their hitbox, or there's less risk of it at the very least. It is unfortunately not a very fun move to use because of that. It's very easy to get yourself hit with it. Anyway though, you can probably tell by these snail shells that this area is called Snail Wasteland, but because it's nighttime, that's not an issue, so this area is just a little bit easier. The giant snail enemies really aren't tough, but it is one less enemy to deal with, or one less enemy type to deal with. And speaking of one enemy type, this swamp area is actually really easy. The zombies that spawn here can be a little difficult to kill because if you attack them, they lose their head but they don't die immediately, so they have a chance to walk into you, especially due to how tiny the platforms here tend to be. That being said though, they are some of the slowest spawning enemies in the entire game, so it's really difficult for them to actually hit you if you just run by them. So, honestly, just run by them. As I showed right there with that fight, it's honestly a little difficult to deal with them. It's not the worst thing if you want to do it, there's just not much of a point in doing so. Now, I believe this is actually the last area before where the zombie caravan is, so hopefully we can wait it out until nighttime, because we are approaching our destination. We've also got these slimes here. They're fairly rare enemies, you're not going to see much of them throughout the game, but the tiny ones are annoying. Actually, they're all kind of annoying. They're difficult to hit because of how small and jumpy they are. We also have this stump right here, which I believe there was actually a stump further back that I missed, and that's a shortcut that links to that one. Oh well, it's not a huge deal. I'll just get it later. Honestly, due to how much I teleport around, it's not like I need the shortcuts that much. If I'm actually traversing an area, then it becomes an issue. Okay, so this is just rude. See this wall right here and how it looks like a normal wall? It's not. You can destroy it with the elephant. How rude is that? Like, what the hell? When I first got here, I was like, wait, what? did I miss something? There is a ledge up above, but the only thing there is a firefly. You have to just try out breaking down the wall with an elephant, even though there's no visible sign you can do so. Like, it's basically just there to gatekeep you from going too far if you only have the monkey form, but like, there could have been some indication. They could have put some cracks in the wall to make it look like it could be broken, but no. Just completely mislead the player. Thanks a lot for that game. Yeah, sometimes the things this game does are just not really all that fun or good. Alright, now it's time to play the waiting game, which thankfully didn't take long. We were just before nighttime. So here we are at the zombie caravan. Like I said, you can only find it at night. If you try to go onwards when it's day, you'll just go to the next area. Alright, well, thanks for the advice, Nerd Zombie. I did. Of course, this place has a warp squid hut, which is actually one of the most useful ones in the game. No, I wouldn't say it's the most useful, but it's pretty helpful with the zombie caravan in general. But of course, we don't have the squids for it. I prefer to send them to Oasis Town's, or Oasis Town's hut, rather. Alright, well, that's a weird thing to say, but whatever, it's helpful advice, technically speaking. Okay, so, this guy has the other gimmick of the zombie caravan, or rather, he explains it. Now, when it's story important, the zombie caravan is in one place. But when we're done with story stuff, the caravan starts moving around, and it can be anywhere in the world, which is why it's important that you get some warp squids. If you don't mind doing a little bit of backtracking, then maybe you should save them from the Golem Mines, rather, not the Oasis Town dungeon. It has its own name. But yeah, as long as you have the warp squids, you can at least find the zombie caravan no matter where it is. But yeah, it's an annoying gimmick if you don't have the warp squids now. So this place has a lot of different items for good prices. It's also got the greed jar, which helps you grind for money, but I don't need it. Flashbulb, fireball. Not as useful as you might think, if I remember correctly. I believe I buy one later on, and it just didn't really help me that much. Anyway, I believe we've talked to everyone, so the only place we really have to go is Keep Out. I mean, it doesn't tell us what the place is, but you can guess. So here's Roddy Tops. Oddly enough, she somehow manages to be probably Shantae's weirdest friend. Which, you know, considering Bolo exists, is really impressive. This is the start of a relationship. It's not necessarily good, but it's not necessarily bad either. Well, there's our next goal, but I'm sure it's not going to be so easy to get to it. I mean, we can guess where it is. We saw a very important looking structure on our way here. But of course, it was locked, so we're gonna need help with that, and Roddy Tops isn't quite as eager to help us as Shantae's other friends. I like how there's a distinction between wild zombies and civilized zombies. That's just a thing. So, don't worry about this, even though Roddy Tops really wants to eat Shantae's brain. Even if you lose, it's not like a game over or anything. You get to try again as much as you want. Even if that does sound very threatening. It's fine, it's fine. Besides, even if it were a problem, we're gonna win this race on our first go, no problem. Alright, so have you played Mega Man 8? Because it's basically that. You hold right, and sometimes you gotta jump or you gotta slide. Jump over the rocks, and slide beneath the trees. Now, if you have trouble with timing this out, which, to be fair, it can be a little bit difficult to get the timing on this down, the pattern is the same every time. The obstacles are always in the same place, so if you have some problem with timing, then you can always just rely on memorization. Now, Roddy Tops doesn't necessarily rubber band, but as you can see by the bottom progress bar there, she doesn't exactly fall far behind you once she's off screen, so make too many mistakes and she can catch up very easily. Oh, and this should go without saying, but don't slide for don't slide for too long, because that does slow you down. Apparently Roddy just wounded her knee a little bit. Instead of falling apart, which honestly she's probably more wont to do. I mean, you promised no snacking, so I'd prefer that. Alright, so, she's just gonna stand there, but don't worry, she'll be at Cackle Mound ahead of us somehow. Maybe she cuts out as well, because let me tell ya, it's backtracking time, so I'm absolutely going to be cutting now. Alright, here we are back at the swamp. And because these zombies really aren't a threat, it's just a hop and a skip and a jump all the way back to Cackle Mound. Of course, you're probably going to want to save first, but thankfully this time, it's a lot harder to miss the save points. You might have before Golem Mine if you didn't go left, but there's the save point right there. You just have to do a little bit of platforming between it and Cackle Mound. To be fair though, you did have to dodge some cacti at Golem Mine. Oh, gross. Oh, well, that's horrifying. Well, thanks for the help. I didn't know legs could be used that way. So what, you're saying this is gonna be a stealth dungeon? Jeez, I wasn't prepared for this. I just thought Shantae was a platformer, but guess it's time for a stealth mission against the undead. Next time on Shantae. What was that song? Whose dance moves are these?